All right, just doing some soldering here. Got to be careful with that stuff because you don't want to breathe it in. But what I was doing was making a circuit. And so you need a power source, some wire, the thing that you're going to power, which is a little buzzer, and you get a circuit. So that's on the small scale. There's things that are much larger, but for now, we're going to be going on the small scales. So my name is Mr. Austin, and today we'll be doing circuits. But the project today is mini-bots. And so a circuit is as simple as an electrical pathway or a bridge that connects electricity together to power whatever you want to power. So think of it like a pathway, such as like those drawbridges where they go up and down. When it's down, cars can flow, or electricity, the cars represent, can flow over or drive over the bridge. But then as soon as that bridge goes open and opens up, the cars stop and the electricity stops and cannot flow anymore. So that's another way, or a way to think about how electricity works. And it's as simple as flipping a switch on or off, such as this. Simple as that. But there's more that goes into it, and we can discover that and learn together as we build the project and as I teach you over this. So anything that requires power needs, well, power and a power source, or it can be solar, as simple as a battery right here, a AA battery as well, or something that is generated such as like a hydroelectric dam, solar, as I said before. Regardless, you need a battery or a power source to give you electricity. And so, as you can see, we have a simple circuit here, and it flows in one direction. It never flows back. And if it flows back, nothing's gonna work. So in this case, we have a switch, your power source, which is a positive and a negative. That's why on your batteries, if you look here, and you turn it around, you get a positive and then a negative little sign, so you know which way the battery has to go into your remote control, into your gaming controller, into your phone, or whatever you are trying to power. And so those electrons are actually called, the electricity is called electrons, sorry. So those are little tiny itty bitty negatively charged ions that flow through the wire. And in this case, we have copper wire, and as you can see, it has that copper color. So it flows a lot more easily. And I don't want to get into depth about how fast or what kind of metal conducts electricity, but if you've ever noticed, they use metal a lot of the times for connecting things together because it flows very easily. Such as if you have a metal cup and you pour hot water in it, you're gonna go, ow, that's really hot, because it spreads the heat very easily or circulates the electricity through very quickly, rather than if you put a ceramic glass cup and you put hot water, you're going to be able to touch that for a lot longer because energy doesn't transfer through it very quickly. So with that being said, let's get on with making our mini bots. All right, with the lesson already behind us, let's get started with our project. And as you saw earlier, I was soldering a piece of the wire together so that way it makes a better connection, and so that way it won't poke you in any kind of way. So here is the project that I did while the intro was being filmed. And as you saw earlier, it makes a little buzzing sound, but we're not doing that at all today. But today, we are building mini bots. So you have probably gotten this: a motor, a board, a paper clip, a battery, a couple of popsicle sticks, and a glue stick. Do not lose the glue stick, it has a tendency to roll. So, if anything, go ahead and leave it inside the bag. I'm gonna set that off to the side. Now, let's go ahead and begin with making the motor. So, what you first do is you take the wires, and if they have these, go ahead and just remove them. Give it a good pinch and pull it off. There we go. And if you can't do it, go ahead and cut a piece of it off, and then that should just go boop, slip right off. But if you don't have scissors, you might want to get a piece of pliers or maybe some tweezers and go ahead and just tweeze them off. So now that we got that off, let's go ahead and begin with connecting our wires. So it doesn't really matter which way the motor goes, but if you hook it up to the positive side, so the little circle right here on the motor, and you hook it up to the negative side, the bigger circle here, it'll go in one direction because the electricity or the electrons are flowing in a certain direction, which makes the motor spin in one direction. Now, you can hear the motor, but you can't see it. So let's just pretend that the motor is going this way when I connect it this way. But if I were to switch it around and then connect it this way, now the motor is going in the complete opposite direction. But in this case, it doesn't matter which direction you put it in. All that matters is that you choose the small one here, and then go ahead and wrap your wire around it. So that way it makes a little nice circle around your wire. And then you'll be provided with some black tape. And with that black tape, what you're going to do is put it on halfway. But make sure that when you put it on, that it goes over the both sides. Because if you have it too small and it only covers the top, that's not going to work. You need it to cover both sides. And you want to make sure that you don't want just a little bit tiny bit and then a bunch on one side. You want to make sure that it's pretty even, so 50-50. And you also want to make sure that it doesn't cover the other terminal. Because if it does, then you're not going to be able to connect your other wire to it. So with that being said, one side is covered or taped on right here. You take your wire, you place it on your terminal here, and then go ahead and take your tape and then make sure you fasten it down real tightly. So give it a nice pull. Electrical tape is quite stretchy, so you can stretch it on both sides. And if you did get on this side, but this side still feels a little loose, you can go ahead and just take it and then hold it right here, and then go ahead and stretch it down some more. Make sure it's all nice and taped down, and there you go. Now you got yourself a very tightly bound wire, and it won't come off. And if you really want to test it like this. And if you want to test if it still attaches, you just go ahead and connect the wires together. But don't use it right now, because if you use it too much and you hold it for a very long time, the motor's going to start to smell like a hot machine, and the battery's going to start to get hot. But regardless, when you use it a lot, the battery will get warm, but don't be alarmed about that. It's not going to explode. So the next step is to take your paper clip and go ahead and stretch it open just a little bit like that. So that way, when you connect it, I gotta stretch mine a little bit more. So you gotta open it up just a little bit more. And when you connect it, it hooks on like that. So that's exactly what you want. And then what you want to do with this wire, your other wire, it could be the red or the black one, does not really matter, is just go ahead and make it into a hook. And with that hook, you're going to take the side that's not bent out and hook it right there. You're going to pinch the wire right here, hold it, and then twist the paper clip. So that way your wire's nice and tight around the paper clip here. So now if I wanted to, I can just attach it with that, and now the electricity flows through the metal paper clip and through the metal wire to the motor. So with that, we can now attach our motor to our board. So you can attach it like this, you can attach it on its side, preferably this side facing up, since you're going to attach the wire right here. But I'm just going to set mine in the back, so that way it's evenly balanced. So you're going to take your other piece of black tape, or you can use Scotch tape, masking tape, doesn't really matter which one. Go ahead and place it here, and tape it all the way underneath, so that way your battery is nice and secure onto your board. So now the next step, you're going to find where the holes or the slits on your board are. So if you have some on top right here, they're not going to be visible. So go ahead and slip your board upside down, and there they are. Now what you want to do is take your popsicle stick. Either way, it could go in flat side end first, or blunt side or rounded side end first. I'm going to do rounded side because it's a little bit easier to wiggle in. just go ahead and just push your way through on all 4 corners. And once you've done it through all 4 corners, make sure that all the legs are even, because you don't want it uneven and then it might go off to the side more than the other side. And if it's taped over, just go ahead and move the tape like I did right here and push it all the way through. Now my mini bot sits nice and flush. And if you want, you can go ahead and spread the legs out like so. Lastly, or second to last, go ahead and take your glue and place it or insert it into your motor so it looks like almost a propeller. Now, while you hold it, because if you have it right here, it's going to be bouncing all over the place. Right here. Okay, as you saw before, when I inserted it here, it didn't bounce around. It just spun really fast. So if that's the case, go ahead and find like a nail or even your paper clip. You want to make sure that you don't bend your paper clip, and just go ahead and poke a hole off center, as you can see here. There's the center one that was already pre-drilled. I made that one. So go ahead and insert it and hold the motor too. If you don't hold the motor, it's glued on here and it may come off. So you gotta be extra careful with that. So you wanna hold the motor and push the glue into the motor while holding the motor, like so. Now, once you have that inserted, go ahead and, now you hear the difference? If I can connect it. It's so vibrating. There we go. You can adjust the legs. And there's your mini bot. So the reason why it jiggles around like that is because it's offset. So one side is being thrown down and then it's going back up really quickly and being thrown side to side like this, up and down like that, this side, downward, but it keeps constantly spinning around, so it doesn't know which direction, so it just bounces and vibrates really quickly like this. And so the reason because of that is because of the weight distribution. It's off center, so you're gonna get something that's, well, unbalanced and makes it go erratic and just go crazy like this mini bot here. And so if you're to have a pole that's not centered right, you're gonna have a hard time swinging it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's lesson, and I hope you guys learned quite a little bit about circuits today, and I hope you guys have a blast with your project. So until next time, guys, have fun, stay safe, and don't forget about our site here, number and all. So give us a call, visit our website, look at some more of our videos, and stay tuned and come on back. See you guys.